Good morning, everyone. Before starting, I would like to thank the LabEx ICCA and especially Simran for organizing this beautiful day and this beautiful seminar, and for giving me the opportunity to speak about my research. Quick presentation. My name is Rasskazova. I'm a PhD student in digital economics at CEPN and LabEx ICCA. And as you may have maybe guessed, I'm working on creators economy. More specifically, I examine the mutual influence interaction between content production strategies and content monetization strategies between content creators and platforms. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about my research, but it's like connects to what I'm doing. It's the influence of digital intermediaries in the French content production industry. I'm so sorry, there's going to be some similarity with Thomas' Paul's presentation, and there's a lot of sources. I mean, it's not just to brag, but we do have the same sources, so I do apologize. But there's some novelties, don't worry. There's some novelties. Okay. So I'm going to start by presenting the content creation industry. So maybe you're familiar about it, but so content creators are social media users who produce, distribute, and monetize content on social media platforms. I will give like a little bit of warning. I'm going to present about the video content platforms. There's some noises around. So video content platforms such as YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok, as it is my field of research. So when you read the definition of Cunningham and Craig, you may seem, hey, being a content creator is super easy. You just have to film something, to upload it, and then you'll get money. I mean, everyone thinks about it. In reality, it's not that glamorous at all. There is a lot of activities and tasks that you need to do. And David Craig, in his chapter in 2019's book, present the diversity of his activities. So I'm trying to summarize them. And first of all, we do have the content production part. So if you want to monetize content, first of all, you need content. So what does it mean? It means writing a script or the big lines of your video, filming it, and then edit it. Well, not so glamorous. And sometimes people tend to spend too many hours for a video that overcut. That happens. Then for your content to be accessible, you need to publish it. So this is all that's related to content visibility management. You have to publish for one or multiple platforms. And if you publish to multiple platforms, you need to adapt your content to different platforms. Because for instance, on YouTube, prior to YouTube Short, there was a certain type of content that was popular, and on TikTok, it's other content. So you need to adapt your content. Then also you need to adapt your referencing strategy, meaning like you need to add the tags, the keywords, the description, the title, the thumbnail, for the audience to find your content and to click on it and to watch it. So this is a big part of it. And then after making available your content, you need to manage your audience and community, meaning that you need to reply to the comments, to thank the people who saw the video, to address some issues about your video if there is some, for instance, scandals. And yeah, to be active on the platform, meaning staying alive, and in not staying alive on one platform, but on other social media platforms. For instance, if you are on YouTube, you will say on your Facebook, on your TikTok, on your Twitter, that, hey, I published a new video, please watch it. So you have to manage all of that. And then there is the non-glamorous part of all, which is the business management side of content creation, meaning that you need to be in partnership with platforms like YouTube partnership program, and you need to apply, then you need to be active, showing that you are participating in the community. Then you also need to negotiate with brand deals with different brands. For instance, if you want to do branding content or to get sponsorship or to get invited somewhere. So you need to be like a salesman of your own craft. And then there is the company and tax management. I mean, tax management is important, and sometimes content creators forget about it. And then we have big news in the report that's saying they have a new yacht, and actually because they didn't declare the taxes. So as I said, there is this glamorous part of content production, meaning like you can publish every kind of content. There is also not so glamorous part of content production, which is the precarity of the activity. And there is different sources of precarity. The first one is the content creators' production condition. Often content creators work alone or with the help of their relatives in their home, so they don't have a separate space. And it can lead to a lot of mental health issues among content creators, such as burnout. There's also the work-life balance. As I mentioned, content creators need to be active on the platform, replying as much as they can, showing as much as authenticity as they can, and that can lead to some imbalance between content creators in their life. So aside of content creators, there's also other sources of precarity, which is the evolution in audience tastes and trends. For instance, we all love something that now we hate, and that's the same case for the audience. So content creators need to research their market in some kind of ways to be also always be on the first step, being always one step ahead of the other content creators, and to be also always on the trends. Also, there is a new source of precarity, of uncertainty, which Thomas Paul referred was the platform's governance evolution, meaning the platforms can change the rules around visibility, monetization, and moderation. Sometimes those changes are transparent, meaning the platform is going to put out a statement saying, hey, we're changing the rules starting this day. Or sometimes it can be opaque in the sense the platform is going to change and then the creators are going to find out. This happened recently on YouTube with French content creators and vulgarity. Content creators found out at the end of 2023 that some of their content that had bad words and swear words get easily demonetized, and it wasn't publicly announced until 3 months later when YouTube put out a statement on Twitter saying, hey, we changed the rules, we heard you. So yeah, that's kind of happens. And there's also the threat of platform sudden desperation. For instance, there's one beautiful example also happened in French content creators ecosystem, which was the closing of Utip's platform, which was a platform for content creators to get tips from their users, so it happens on the weekend. On Monday, content creators received the email saying, hey, we're gone. And it was it got a little bit an issue, and it created a lot of uncertainty and bigger precarity for content creators, also for smaller content creators. So all the sources that I gave you are cumulative, they are not distinct, and it's adding a lot of pressure for content creators to be always active on the platform. It also may be accentuated by the platform's lack of resources, meaning the platforms do have the Creators Academy, what they call resources for content creators to get information about it. However, those resources and those informations are limited, trying to protect the platform's operation system for trying to limit abuse from content creators. This is the case for instance, for moderation. When the apocalypse happens, there was a change of rules, but they weren't explicit, and it was vague definitions about it. So we talked about precarity, but there's a lot of inequalities among content creators. And I can say there's two sources of inequalities, which are, of course, led of the precarities. The first one is related to visibility, meaning that not everyone has the same chances to get audience retention. Barter, in their article of 2018, studied 10 years of YouTube's activity. And they found out that 97% of the views accumulated on YouTube were attributed to 3 top content creators, meaning there is a winner-take-all effect. And new content creators do not have the same opportunities with a small follower base than big content creators like PewDiePie. There is also the visibility problem with the platform visibility moderation technologies, which refers to all those technologies on regulation that the platforms put in place to regulate the content and the creators' activity. I would like to refer you to one article by Sofferton, who talks about the case of LGBTQ+ people and how they got impacted by content moderation policy, and how it's the platform trying to be as open as possible, but those changes were affecting those communities. So there is the visibility side, and then there's the monetization side. So if you want to get monetized on platforms, you need to get some criteria, for instance, the number of followers, the watch time on YouTube, or the number of views. If you're a small creator that's just starting, you will not get easily into that, in those criteria. For instance, on YouTube, for the YouTube partnership program, you need to get 10,000 subscribers, or they change. Well, they change every time. So you need to be for instance, if you have a goal to get 10,000 subscribers, you need to work to it, and then suddenly there's maybe change. So this is what Kirchhoff and Alcambons worked on. So this is the first step of inequality. There is also the diversity of source of income. For instance, content creators do not have the same opportunities based on those criteria. For instance, smaller content creators will not have the same opportunities in sponsorship deals than bigger content creator. For instance, we can talk about Lena Situation, who is one of the biggest YouTuber on the French ecosystem, who gets to animate the César in France, which is like a French cinema festival. Well, I mean, if I launch a YouTube channel, I will not be able to do that. I mean, I will try, but I will not have the same opportunity. So this shows that the audience has played an important part in the different opportunities that you can have. For instance, smaller, and this is why it's important. And also, yeah, I think I have another one. Sorry. Yeah. So all those differences in opportunities leads to a difference in the revenues that you can earn. When there was the Twitch leaks, data leaks in 2021, they showed that the top creators, the top 1%, earned enough to live from their activities, and all the rest couldn't even get the equivalent of a SMIC, which is the minimum legal wage that you can get in France. So yeah, there's a lot of disparities in the content production ecosystem. So again, this leads me to introduce the intermediaries in the equation. So we did already heard the definition of intermediaries, but I would like to get a new one from the authors around creators economy. So intermediaries are firms or agents who operate between content creators and platforms. Their aim is to help creators to manage and grow creators' brand. The brand means the business. They do gather a lot of researchers from each side of creators' activity, from production to the legal part. And also there's a diversity in the structures and actors, as I will show you. So this leads me to my research question that I would try to answer today, which are what are the influences of intermediaries in content production? To reply to this answer, to give some answer, I will present the landscape of French intermediaries in the content creators economy with all the information that I can gather around it. Then I will answer the question of, do social media intermediaries reinforce inequalities in creators economy? We did have some insights that was provided from studies, but I would like to push a little bit further this research by presenting a research project that I will try to do during my thesis. Okay, so multi-channel networks, talent management companies, labels, agent, you can name it. There are those intermediaries that we talk about in content creators economy. We do have a legal, well, not sort of legal, but we do have an authority in France who defined those players, and it's the CSA, the Conseil supérieur de l'audiovisuel, in their report in 2019, who defined those companies as companies which support content creators on video sharing and social media platforms. I mean, this definition is very vague, but they do provide a list of tasks that intermediaries can do. So I tried to group all those activities together in the lifetime of a production, like in the cycle of production cycle. So first of all, we do have help in the production, meaning like they will give you help in writing by attributing you a writer, finding location filming. For instance, I will show you some players actually aggressively propose these spaces for you to film in the studio. There's the production that will give you like a team for you to work on your content. That will help you with editing, and also that will give you money in advance, which is pretty cool. There's also the content management and optimization side, which means that they do have experts on how to reference your content. They will have like data scientists, like tech people who will help you to optimize your content to get the most retention, the bigger retention score, and the biggest like ratio, and the most all the stuff. There is also I would say like something that in France is quite interesting to see. They help you with right management. I mean, as far as I've seen in other literature in other countries, right management side is not like explicitly shown, but in France, this is like exception à la française, how we say, you have this like specificity, like those agents will say, hey, we're gonna help you fight your rights to get your copyrights, right? And also there's the community management side, like they would reorganize event for you, they'll hire community managers or moderators on your live streams to help you to unload that weight that you have from work-life imbalance. One specificity also of those companies, they will help you to monetize their content. So when you look at the history of multi-channel networks, they were specialized in ad revenue management. I mean, like they did have advertising departments to help you to get exclusive advertisers to be on your videos. Now it's switching a little bit because of the YouTubes and other platforms change and trying to reintegrate those services by creating their own advertising departments. Those functions switched a little bit, and they decided to help you negotiate partnership with brands because they have this authority of legacy from the previous activity. And also there is also something that we don't talk about because it's not the glamorous part of content creation, is the legal help. Often content creators are not very familiar with legal rights, and they have like lawyers or people that are understanding the financial stuff problems that help them to create a sustainable and legal business. Okay. So as I said earlier, there is a diversity of value proposition and structures. It can go from 360 degrees contracts, meaning like all the aspects of content creation are gonna be covered, meaning from production to legal help. And sometimes we do have services that are more specialized in something. Some, for instance, legal firms or influencers, agencies. They're going to be more specific on one element, one step of the production cycle. There is also how we're going to manage all those tasks. MCN a lot relied on automated services, meaning like it was automated ad placement at the time. But today we can see there's like a switch, because like content creators tend to work more with humans, in some kind of ways. So there's more human-oriented services, such as talent management companies. Now I want to talk about something like which is quite interesting, is who created those companies. There is the traditional media-owned companies. So this means like sometimes either it was created by those traditional media, or it was bought afterwards by those traditional media. So in this case, we see like an extension of media, like of media, how media operated towards digital world. There is also creators created firms, meaning like content creators sometimes say, hey, I see that their services doesn't work for me. I'm gonna create my own brand with better understanding how content creation works. And also, exception à la française, we have non-profit organizations in France, which are very, very powerful. And I want to talk about it a little bit later, because this exception also translates of the dynamics inside the content creators economy and how like the business side can work. So prior to presenting all those players in the French ecosystem, I want to talk about these companies' evolution. So Cunningham and Craig in 2019, and then Christian Pradier in 2022 presented the evolution that those companies heard. So it's all started when platforms give those functions to other companies, meaning like, for instance, the MCN was funded in sort of way by YouTube to create those helps, meaning like the platform says, okay, we don't want to deal with that. You seem to be better doing that, so we're going to help you. So they had like, I think it was programs, specialized programs in it. Then it switched because the platform says, okay, we are giving you too much right, too much power. Okay, we're going to give it back because we see that the value that you're creating is getting away from us. So we see that the platforms decided to take back, like, for instance, take back that. And for instance, with sponsorship on Twitch, it was really interesting because they created a certain space on Twitch where content creators can claim bounties. For them, the bounty meaning the sponsorship deal that they can have. And the platform take the role of an advertising agent for the content creators, which is quite interesting because it can help smaller content creators who does not have the access to bigger companies to actually try to manage their business in some kind of ways. There is this first evolution of the changes in the relationship dynamics between platforms creators and MCN. There's also the adjustment to cross-publishing nature of content creators, meaning like content creators do not rely on only one platforms. They need, because of the threat of a sudden closing, content creators need to be active and to be proactive about their career, meaning like they need to diversify their platforms and diversify their income. Speaking of diversifying income, I would like to recommend you the article by Zoe Glad about not putting eggs all in the same basket, which is really interesting because it talks about, from monetization side, it encapsulates all the dynamics that happen in content creation, from production to publishing to monetization. So all those evolutions that we saw means like it's quite difficult to identify which actor can be considered as an intermediary and which are don't. And today I'm going to try to present you some of the actors that are present in the French ecosystem. There's not a lot of them, but I tried to find the major one. But as mentioned by Lobato, it's kind of difficult to describe the intermediaries landscape in content production activity. So we do have, first of all, we do have the 360 degrees MCN, meaning like those companies offer you all the services that the content creators need, from production to management to monetization and advertising. So the famous one, which is called Webedia, it's not really good known in France. It's known to promote bad content creators. But Webedia is the biggest one in France, meaning like they bought a lot of companies they bought a lot of companies building up the empire. Also, Webedia is the main one known to content creators and also the most aggressive one in signing up content creators. For instance, last year they signed up all the new talents from TikTok, meaning like they almost have a monopoly on French intermediaries in content creators activity. We also have 360 MCNs that are owned or bought by, created or bought by traditional media, which is Studio 71, which is now called Playground, and then now proposed by Remedia World. So those companies are in collaboration with traditional media, and they offer services to content creators. We also have Studio Bagel, which is owned by Canal+, and Golden Moustache, who is now not operating, but it was bought by M6 and created by a lot of well-known French content creators. So the 360 MCNs are majorly dominated by traditional media. And after that, I'm going to show you that some intermediaries are created by content creators. For instance, in the production company side, we have companies that will provide help and services around production. For instance, the most famous one is NES System Production, which was created by content creators from the BATX, which is like a little company in Brittany. It's like les Irrésistibles Gaulois, how we can say. Updated, which was a company founded by an ex-YouTube employee who wanted to create more about content creators, to care more about content creators. We do have Cairn, which is like a production company side, which is close actually to cinema. So which is quite interesting because we do have like the traditional media also like participating in that. After that, we do have the influencer talent management companies. Sometimes if those companies are advertising, like they sell this, what they sell is advertisement placements next to content creators. So they're which, like for instance, you're an advertiser or a brand, you wanted to get an advertising spot, then you reach to those companies who have a pool of content creators and they try to match with the demand. We have 20T, which is a company created exclusively by content creators like streamers on Twitch. And they gather one of the biggest pool of content creators in terms of numbers of subscribers and numbers of views. And they're actually quite discreet. So these companies that I'm showing you, like the production, talent management, data strategies, are B2B, like if you can say business to business. They're not really known to the public. You can find those companies in terms like if you look at some content creators, they will find like by the managing agency, but still they're not publicly, like they're not done for the public. Talent Web Academy is actually one sub-company of Webedia because they try to diversify the activity as much as they can. Strategy and data optimization is also one axis that some companies have taken the place on. So I put the logo on Social Blade because it's one of the most well-known found, and some smaller content creators rely on that, and they don't like, because it's free, people can access to it. But there are also other companies which provide paid services like VideoBees, who will like study your content and try to optimize it for the audience. And these companies refer to the algorithmic experts that Sophie Bishop talked about in her article. Right, now I'm going to talk about the French exception in content creation. So we do have the right management companies. So we have la SCAM, la SACEM, and la SCAD. So those companies, in certain way, like the legal, you can like adhere to them, like you can pay, like you can say, hey, I want to be represented by your company for my rights. And they will like collect all the revenue for you. For instance, if you created the music in your video, you can like license it and they will provide the revenue from this license. So there is this right management part, and they're also like trying to get into the production side of things. For instance, la SCAD and the la SCAM are organizing seminars on how to produce content, how to write content. They're also at Frames Festival, which is like a French gathering on creators economy. They also like aggressively advertise their studio spaces, meaning like each time you're talking to them, you say, hey, you know, we have a space in Paris, you can come and film your thing. So, because when you get a membership at their company, you can have access to all those resources that they give. Okay, next to those right management companies, we do have a non-profit organization. These non-profits are created by content creators or people that are close to content creation. Their aim is to promote and help content creators to build their brand's business and to also like to broadcast the importance of having an organization around content creators. Unfortunately, those organizations do not last long. For instance, La Guilde des Vidéastes was ceased last year due to financial reasons. And les Internet have closed their activity last month because they didn't have a lot of helpers to give them. And it was too much work because it was voluntary work. Also, there's two others non-profit that I'm giving you examples are Soutien en Petit Stream, which is a Discord community when small content creators can can post their pages and have feedbacks from other content creators. You do not have big content creators in these communities. It's like more helping, like peer-to-peer help that you can have. So it's quite interesting because when you get into this Discord, it's very like professional in some kind of ways. Even though it's helping, it's voluntary. You have some section about production, how to diffuse your how to broadcast your content, and how to get monetization, some legal help about, hey, if you want to get money, you should have a legal structure about it. Then we do also have nonprofit organizations which are specialized in some topics of content creation. For instance, we have le Café des Sciences, which is specialized with content creators who popularize science. So this is like scientific. We do have like scientific people who also do YouTube, who talks about it, and they're quite like big in terms of way. They do have power in this ecosystem. And also, finally, to conclude on that part, we do have a public organization, we mean like state organization, who provide fundings for certain type of content creation. We do have the CNC with the CNC Talent, which is help, like a funding help that you can get, which is attributed by the CNC, but the jury is composed of content creators, meaning like it's not bureaucratic decisions that are made, it's peer-to-peer decision. Also, I'm giving you the example of La Région Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes, because they publicize a lot during frames. They provide help for content creators in their region and who produce content in their region. So we do have those intermediaries, but now I want to talk about what they represent in the content creators sphere. So I did conduct a survey between April and September 2022 next to French content creators who are active on YouTube and Twitch. My goal for this study was to find the business model strategies around content creators and to try to find some trends that we can see among content creators. So I contacted 748 content creators directly, and then with the help of La Guilde des Vitesses et Soutien au Petit Stream, I managed to get some publicity on their social media. I do have 200 answers from content creators, but those are not mainly complete. So they have 147 content creators who completed the survey. So from that data, I can say that 70% of respondents declared to work with an intermediary in some kind of way, meaning like it can be an MCN, talent management industry. In majority, the respondents who declared to work with an intermediary have declared to have more than 100,000 followers on their main platform. And the main category for the content is scientific popularization and gaming. Okay, now I'm going to present quickly my research goal, my research agenda for this topic. So as we know, intermediaries may reinforce asymmetric relationship between platforms and content creators because they hold knowledge on automated management systems. They know they have direct contact with the platforms. They're certified by platforms, meaning that they do have resources. However, those intermediaries sometimes are interested in particular sets of content creators. For instance, in Lobato's study, he found out that MCN represented popular channels that align with specific consumer verticals, meaning like they can sell those spaces to advertisers. And also, it was a channel with the highest number of subscribers, and those content are the most watched. So we do have also the same dynamics of inequality and entry barriers. And also, the algorithmic experts' advice are set in a meritocratic framework, meaning says, hey, everyone has the same chance on the platform. If you follow that advice, you will be the next PewDiePie. But it also happened in a way like those advice are given to a specific. Those advice are from studies on content creators from a specific field and with a specific like demographic. For instance, gaming for MatPat in Bishop's study. So in kind of way, like when you see that, you say, yeah, there is some kind of gatekeeping in some kind of way. There's some kind of inequalities. However, my question is, what is the influence of the intermediary on French content creators' career? In a sense, like, what is the causal effect when you say, okay, I'm signing up with an NCM, how is going to impact on my career? So, as I've said earlier, it's quite difficult to get all the intermediaries list and the creators who work on them. However, there is a public funding, which is called by CNC Talent, who tells you all the content creators who get the help and for what amount. So my goal is to look at those content creators and to look at the date when they receive the help and see what is the effect of having this help on content creators' activity. Like, for instance, on content creators' metrics, so like, do they gain a lot more followers? Are their videos more watched? Do they have more subscribers? Are they more professionalized in the sense, like, do they accentuate their upload frequency? And what is the public reaction? Meaning, like, do they have more likes or something way? And also, I want to look at the creators' upload evolution. Is the content diversified, or are the videos longer? And what are the referencing strategies? So what is really the impact on content production? So those are open questions that I hope to work on soon, if I ever manage to finish after my work. So yeah, I'll conclude on that. So thank you so much for listening, and I have questions.